Let's model a TV remote. I'm providing you with the reference image that I've got here. So bring it into Blender and press S2. Press G to grab or go and move it up until it's somewhat at the bottom like that. Okay, press 3 to look from the side and pull it back a little ways. Press 1 to look from the front. Alright, so here we go. This is going to be filled with Booleans. So we're going to try that technique and see how it works for us. Alright, so to do this, we're going to bring in a cylinder. And I'm going to go for 24 vertices. Now, we may put on a subdivision or we may not, so I want it to be enough vertices if we don't use a subdivision. I'm going to move it up and press S to scale and see how close we are on our diagram. We're going to move the diagram a little bit. GX, hold Shift, slide it over a little bit and see how well we can get it. Okay, back into edit mode and wireframe. Deselect and B to box select there. Pull that down to the bottom. All right. Grab the top and pull it up to here. Okay, let's grab the bottom again and we're going to bevel. Control B, pull. I'm holding down Shift as well till I get it about there, and then roll your mouse up and then pull in. And I want about 5 divisions, I think. That's close enough. Okay, grab the top, Control B and pull down again a little bit. I'll still go with the 5 divisions, that's okay. So we get that. Alright. Okay. Press 3 to look from the side and go back into wireframe. And we're going to box select all those top ones, leaving the middle ones. And all these bottom ones. X vertices. And zoom in. We may have missed some, we may not. Looks like I got them all. Alright, I'll go back into solid view. And Shift Alt and click these vertices and press F to make a face. Then come back to the top. Shift Alt and click those, F to make a face. And that's what we want there. A to select everything. Let's go back and look at this. And go into wireframe again. And we're going to give it some thickness. E and Alt S, and I'm going to pull and see if I can get this outer edge, the orange outer edge, roughly on there. And we have a similar thickness to this. Now that's pretty rounded and you can flatten it if you want to, but I'm just going to leave it like that. It's up to you, however. Alright, so let's go back into edit mode and I'm going to press 2 for edge selection and Shift Alt and click this edge, and it should go all the way around, and this edge. And I'm going to bevel now just by eye. I'm just going to pull, and I want to have maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 edges. Roll my mouse up for 2 or 3 more. I'm going to right click and shade smooth. And let's make sure, because it's probably flipped. See, it's red facing us. So select it all, Alt N, recalculate outside. And there's our outer case part thing. Now, if you want, you can put on a subdivision surface. It looks pretty smooth, but if you want, Control 1 or 2 just to tighten it up, make it a bit smoother is okay if you're not worried about the number of polys. Now, the next part, the inner part, is actually going to be a separate piece. I'm going to make that out of a plane. I'm going to round it a bit, especially down there, and then we're going to punch holes in that using Booleans, so we don't have to go through a subdivision surface or anything. Alright, and that's the beauty of this method. So Shift A, mesh plane. Let's pull it up, RX90, and let's scale this in the X until it hits the sides. And we're going to pull it back just a little bit in. Alright, I'm going to grab this upper edge and I'm going to pull it up to the top. And depending on how much you curve this, you may or may not have to round this. I think I am, though. I'm going to pull to about there, press 1 for vertex selection, And I'm going to make sure I've got those two selected, and then I'm going to press Control B, actually Shift Control B, because they're just vertices, and I'm going to pull until they're underneath. Now, maybe I should do that in wireframe so we can see how many vertices we've got. Shift Control B, pull, and that's fine. You know, 5 or 6 or whatever. Okay, so it's underneath there, and it's not poking through. Okay, let's grab the bottom. Let's pull it down to here. And now let's Shift Control B, pull, and keep pulling until it pretty much disappears. The only thing we don't want is we don't really want these vertices to overlap. So I can grab these and just pull them in. And then we have this. Alright. And if these ones are sticking out a tiny bit, I'll just pull them up. Alright, so like I say, we're going to do our work on this piece here. Alright, so at this point I'm actually going to hide that, and we want to work on this. Alright, so let's go into just wireframe, and we're going to build all of these buttons really simply. Shift A, mesh, plane. I am not inside this object or anything. This is a new object. And I'm going to go into edit mode for that, and RX90, and I'm going to pull it up and zoom in, and I want a big plane that overlaps all the buttons here. And then what I'm going to do, once I have it about that size, is I'm going to right click and choose subdivide and 2. Alright, I'm going to press 3 for face selection. I'll zoom in a bit. I'm going to press I twice, pull in, and that will give me individual squares. Now we may be a little bit off the diagram, that's totally fine. So I'm going to do that. So this is what I have. I'm just going to move off to the side. I'm going to press E to extrude and come out to make the buttons. I'll go back into solid view so you can see. So this is what we have. Press Control plus to expand the selection so we've got all the button part. I don't need this background, so I'm going to press Control I to invert the selection in X faces. Alright, back into object mode, so I've got the buttons and I've got this. I'm going to take the buttons and press slash to just focus on them, and go into edit mode, 2 for edge selection, and Shift Alt and click the outer edge around all of them. I'm going to put a face on the back of them. I have to make a face, and now I'm going to add a bevel modifier to them. I'm going to go up to 3 and 0.02. I'm not going to worry about shading them right now. Shade smooth, slash key to bring those back. I'm going to take these buttons, go into edit mode, and push them through. I'm not going to worry too much about their position, like how far in they are or anything, as long as they go through. Alright, still while I'm in edit mode of those buttons, I'm going to go into wireframe, and I'm actually going to deselect, and I'm going to select one of them, Control L, make sure I've just got the whole button, and I'm going to copy it, Shift D and G, I'm going to pull it down here, and I'm going to make this a separate object, so P, separate by selection. So now I've got this one. Go into edit mode, and I'm going to scale this in the Z. Position it however you like, scale it a bit if you want. Alright, so I've got one of them, and I am going to want it to go through, and that's fine. Back into wireframe, and I'm in object mode again. No, I'm not. Now I am. And I'm going to array this across. So array in the X. I'm going to hold down Shift, and I'm going to drag on the X here, and just position that. I'm going to go up to 4. That looks good. I think I will set the origin to geometry. That'll bring my gizmo down there, and Shift D to duplicate and pull them down to there. I'm happy with that, so I'm going to go ahead and apply that array, and select these and apply that array, and select both of them and Control J. In fact, I will be joining them to these buttons as well, so I'm going to Control J with that. Let's create the circles. 3D cursor still down there. Shift D, mesh, circle, Because I'll be using these to do Booleans and punch holes, I want a relatively high number of vertices. The more the better, but I'll go with 24. And that's should be enough and not too crazy. Okay, RX 90. Scale it down and just drag it up. And scale and just position it so that it's big enough to make this hole, which we're going to bevel, and the button as well. So just follow the reference as much as you decide you want to. I'm going to put a face on here, and I'm going to extrude this back. Now you could have just used a cylinder, that would have been just fine as well. All right, just if you pulled back, just Alt-N, recalculate outside. Just make sure everything is facing the right way, not flipped. All right, I'm back into object mode there, or wireframe. I'm going to select this. I'm in object mode for this, I guess, cylinder. And let's now array again in the X and pull until it lines up. Make 3. I'm going to pull a bit more. Okay, I think that's probably good enough. And with that done, I can actually go ahead and apply that. And I'll go into edit mode this time. Shift D, pull them down. Shift D, pull them down. And do that one more time. And now all of these are part of one object here. I have all of them. So I'll do Boolean with these, I'll do Boolean with those, but let's do another thing. And before I forget, let's go into wireframe. Let's do this little notch so we don't forget that. In fact, I should do that. So I'm jumping around a bit. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to box select a little bit and Control L. Make sure I've got it all, and Shift D, G. Pull this up to make like the power button thing here, and then scale it down. That's the scale. I just want a smaller version of that there. I just want to make sure that it does go through there. So now that's joined, and I've got that power button or whatever, or I can make the hole at least. Let's look in wireframe again, make the notch. So I'm going to bring in a cube this time. Drag it up. Go into edit mode, S to scale. S. About there, like that. Okay, let's look in solid view. Okay, so it does go through. You don't need it that thick, but it doesn't really matter. But I want to curve the side, so I'm going to select that edge and that edge. And whether you look in the diagram or not doesn't really matter. Control B, just pull and get a nice curve on there. Okay, of about, I guess I got 5 segments in total there. So we'll have that one. We'll do that one in a bit. And there's one more main one. So there's different types of these, remotes. I'm just trying to keep it relatively simple. So let's just bring in another circle here. Not that. Bring in another circle. I'll go for 24. Rotate X90. And scale it to make the shape that you want. Again, I could use a cylinder. I just want to punch a hole right now. We'll create the actual design in a bit. So we've got that. Did I do that? So that's a separate one. It doesn't really matter, but double check that everything is facing the right way. It is. Okay, and we are now ready to go. You may want to save a copy of this thing. You could just save a copy and throw it over there in case you mess up on this. I'll just leave that there for now. So select your flat plane and choose Boolean. We're going to be on difference, and select the eyedropper and the cube, and we have a cutaway. All right, select it again. Let's do another Boolean difference. Let's select the power button and see. It looks like everything is going through. Now take these and don't delete them, just hide them. And you can see that I've got some nice holes here. This one I didn't get a hole all the way through. I've got a little piece there. So I'm going to come in face selection, number 3. I just click 3 to go to there. I'm just going to get rid of that face. And that's fine for now. So those things should still be hidden. They're there though. Okay. Select the main panel again. Boolean difference. Let's try the squares. It doesn't look like all of them went, so I'm going to go Control Z. We'll go back to when this is red. I'm going to choose fast instead, and we should get it. And apply. Take these, hide them, and this one's come back. All right, one more. That looks fine. Hide. All right, we've done it. So we punched holes in our plane, and this one here has some extra pieces. So I'm just going to Shift Alt and click and get rid of those faces, and there's an extra face straggling, so that it's just flat like that. Okay, now this looks a little crazy, and we're going to have to do some fixing up, and we will do that. All right. I mean, there is no other easy way to do this. I'm not going to sit here for hours to try and get this all in quads and whatever. There's no sense to that at all. So this is what I'm doing. All right. Now I'm going to give this a bit of thickness. Am I? Yeah, I am. So E to extrude, pull it out just a little bit. X faces just to get rid of that bottom. So we only have the outline, and that's fine like that. Okay, let's start doing some stuff here. Let's start beveling. So I'm going to edge selection, and I'm Shift Alt and click here. I'm going to bevel them separately. I'm not going to do everything exactly the same. So I've got just the edge there. Control B to bevel, pull. I want about 3 or 4 segments in there so it's nice and smooth. And I beveled that hole, and that's going to make it easier to see all around. I haven't smoothed anything yet, so we'll deal with that in a bit. Let's have a look here. Now, I can try to bevel this. I'm holding down Shift and Alt, and I'm clicking the edges, and I'm having to go around a couple of times. The problem is, when I start beveling this, it's going to start hitting these edges, so this is not going to work. So what I'm going to do is I want some edges. In fact, I'm going to shut off that empty for the moment. I want my edges to come off perpendicular to my other edges as much as I can. And as you can see, these squares need some support here. If I select this, I can't go, or I shouldn't be able to go, dissolve edges. It just won't do it. This square is saying, I need some support. And then, you know, they kind of support each other, and then this one supports each other, and this one goes up to the corner, it needs some support. So we're going to fix that by making our own supporting edges. So I'm going to look straight on this, and sometimes I like to press 1 for vertex selection, and you can see the vertex, so it wants to do it from here, and I'm okay with that. I'm going to press the knife tool, and I'm going to select that point. I'm just going to come relatively straight across. Doesn't even have to be perfectly straight. Press 2 for edge selection and select this one that was there before and dissolve it. And now this one says, well, I've got some support. I don't need the others. I don't like the position of this one right there, so I'm just going to create my own. I'm going to press the knife tool. I'm going to come down to here, and I'm just going to come to there and dissolve that edge. That one's on an angle. That's okay. Let's come over here. Let's build our own. I don't want to start way down here. I want to do it roughly in the middle. Just swing right across. Select. You'll have to select it in 2 pieces because we cut through it. X, dissolve edges. And now these ones are okay. Let's come to this next row. It just does the same kind of thing. Okay, so you got your middle one. Well, or the one that's up here. Let's make it down here a little bit more. All right. Now select, dissolve. That one's crooked. Okay. Here, let's come over here. Let's start somewhere in the middle. Just drag across. Select this part. Hold down Shift in this part. X, dissolve edges. And that location is probably fine. And now I can dissolve that edge. That didn't go all the way around and across. So make sure you do go all the way across to the end there. All right, so we're just going through the rows. This one needs some help. So I'm just going to start roughly in the middle and right out to the edge. Select and dissolve. This one, don't like your position. I'm going to put you roughly in the middle. I'm not making it overly neat. All right, get rid of that one and some support here. We're going to have to do this for a lot, I think, anyhow. Okay, now that's it for those ones there. Did I not get rid of that? I should be able to get rid of that. I should be able to get rid of that. Okay, all the other ones go down to the next row. Let's see, am I missing anything? Okay, now the only thing is, when I do this, it may cause some funniness when I select. For example, I don't want this orange one. I'm going to select all of the boxes first. We'll look at a different vantage point. I'm holding down Shift and Alt, and I'm clicking pretty much twice to get these. Just want to turn on this side and try to make sure that I've got all the boxes selected. All right, but I do not want any of this other stuff. So I'm just holding down Shift and I'm going around saying I don't want to bevel you. And of course you can do it and see if you got all the right stuff. Let's give it a try. Control B, pull. Same number of segments as I had before. And I've got that beveled. Again, it's not shaded right now, so you might get some shading errors, so that's okay. So far so good. So let's continue. Let's look at these guys with them down there. All right, so I'm just going to quickly come in here and do this. It takes a little bit of cleanup, but I mean, it's way better than trying to do this in some other way. However, if you were to UV unwrap this, it might be difficult, but you know, what can you do? It really doesn't take that long, and it's not like it's that hard. I'm going to come out from the side here, give this guy some support, right? Should be able to get rid of some of this other stuff here. No, not that. Just dissolve edges. This one comes down to there. Okay, let's go over on this side here. Maybe that's what it was. Yeah, I'm not getting the whole thing. Just get rid of all those pieces. Okay, there's that row. And now you, and then we are ready to bevel. Whatever, just do it from wherever. Just make sure you get rid of all of the pieces, like shrapnel or something. There we go. I don't really like the position of this edge. Maybe I missed that one. So I'm just substituting the support that these guys all need. I'm holding down Shift and Alt and I'm clicking the edges, and I'm getting more selected than I want, and I'll just go back and get rid of what I don't want. But I need to make sure that I am selecting the entire outer border of these. So I'll start holding down Shift and clicking these, and then I will see and hope that I got it all. Now you see I got this edge. You definitely don't want that. Just look around. Alright, cool. Let's give it a try. Control B, pull. Perfect. Okay, now for these circles, I want to see if I can get rid of some of these. it might just be being greedy, saying I really need some support. It's like you don't need that much, and these ones may or may not be a problem where they are. So I'm just going to Shift Alt and click. I may have to click a couple of times, not there, around them, and you don't even have to click exactly on the edge. Watch this. I didn't even click on the edge, just close. Not there, maybe a little closer than that. This one's going to take 3, depending on how many supporting edges it's got. Like this one. Yeah, I did it in 2. Sorry, maybe this one is what I meant. There we go. Those ones came off pretty good, and so I should be able to just bevel that. Control B. Going excellent. All right. And let's take this one. You'll see this better when I get the cavity shader on. I think I can just Shift Alt and click that. It should be able to Control B bevel. There. All right. I am going to now watch this. Let's put on the cavity shader. All right, so you can see those edges a bit. Let's now shade smooth. And you go, oh my gosh, what have we done? It looks terrible. All right, hang on, hang on. Simple. Weighted normal. Normal, auto smooth. And sometimes a bevel, but moved up to the top. And just leave it like that. And that's it. Alt H will bring everything back. I don't even need this right now, and I'm not going to need that, but okay. Now, the buttons themselves are, these buttons at least, are okay in terms of their shapes. All right, let's shade smooth these. Shade smooth, but they've got a bevel. We're going to add a weighted normal, normal auto smooth. Now, I want to make them a little smaller, so I'm going to go in with all of them selected into edit mode and switch over to individual origins. Just zoom in a bit, S to scale, and just pull. And that should scale them all independently. You don't have to do it too much, just a little bit. I'm going to turn on shadow. And then you just have to decide how far out you want them. And then you also have to decide, you know, if I take the buttons, you know, do you want to go in and get rid of the back faces? I mean, we certainly could do that. In fact, let's try that and select similar coplanar. That should do it all. Let's get rid of those faces. And yeah, we're there. And then slash, bring that back. I'm actually going to switch over to a different matte cap, and I'm starting to see some funny ness, and so I think something is flipped when I did that, and that's my main panel here. Alt N, recalculate outside. All right, now we're in better shape. Okay, so you can see that these buttons have a little space, and again, you can decide to bring them in a little bit if that's too extreme. Okay. All right, let's do these guys now. I'm going to actually hide the back. Come in here, select that. In fact, why not try this? Similar coplanar. I'm going to pull them through. In fact, I'm going to pull them like that. I'm going to get rid of that face right now. Select this. Oh boy. Let's do this. Coplanar. How about that? Control B to bevel, pull, have a bunch of segments like that. Select them all, maybe scale them in the Y a bit, pull them into place like this, and let's shade smooth. I think I'm going to leave those like that. Yep. Okay. Oh, I did this one at the same time because it was joined. I'm going to do some work on this one separately, actually. I'm going to go into edit mode and select a bit and Control L and then P and break it out. This little straggler here got adjusted when I did those, and I forgot about him. Sorry about that. I'm just going to pull you through here and grab your rear there and X faces, and we'll bevel you a bit. and pull you back in. Let's see, like this. Maybe we'll scale you. I'm still in individual origins. I haven't had to come out of there. That's fine the way it is. Just want to do that. Yeah, okay, you're fine. Okay. That leaves us with this one. And let's just scale it down a bit. I think I'm going to switch back to median point. And we're going to, there's no back on this one, so I'm just going to pull you up to here and pull everything in. And then let's have a look at that with the empty on. So where are you? You're right there. I might scale you up a bit bigger. I don't know. All right, so for this one, what I'm going to do is let's get rid of that top face. So I just have that, right? Okay. Yeah. And let's see. I've already come up a little ways, so let's go in to here, but angle outwards. And then E and S and come in straight to there, let's say. Okay. And then we'll come back and maybe angle a bit. I guess maybe it's to about there. And then it's up to you if you want to do that circle or if you just want to, like, even F to make a face would probably be okay. Now I'm going to put on a subdivision surface. I'll go with 1 for the moment, and then we'll sharpen this up. So I'm going to drag an edge loop up here, pretty close. Here, here, and actually more than that. There, and here, down here, and up like that. And I'm going to select this middle and I to inset and drag even an edge loop down. And again, I didn't do that rounded circle coming out. I'm going to take the whole thing and I'm going to scale it in the Y, just flatten it a little bit, and push it in, and imagine it there. And if you want to do this extra piece, I'll just show you that. It's optional. I'm just going to select the circle and bring my 3D cursor there. It makes it a little bit easier. And I'm going to bring in another circle, but I'm going to make it 64 vertices, so quite a bit. And I'm going to rotate X90, pull it out, scale it in until it's right about there, and then E and S scale it in until it's about there. Now it's not on or anything, that's fine. Bring it closer, but not quite on. So I'd have that, and then press 2 for edge selection, Shift Alt to click that edge, and extrude it back. Shift Alt to click that edge. E to extrude and just pull it back. Take the whole thing, and you can see it's sort of dark, sickly looking, if that makes any sense. So recalculate outside. Now look, you look so much better now. Shift Alt and click this edge and this edge, and give it a small bevel. I'm just going to do like 1, like my split, and then 1. All right. And then in face selection, number 3, Shift Alt and click those faces. I'm going to do inset I. And since we did I twice before, it remembers that. So I just need to do I once, pull it in, E and Alt S, and push, I guess, to make them come out just a little bit. And then take that whole thing and just add a bevel. And I'm just doing it one time because it's already getting high poly, and I'll pull that back. You can do whatever you like with respect to that, and that just gives that detail to it. Okay, Alt H, bring everything back. Let's hide the empty. I don't need that. How are we doing? Quick double check. Everyone's facing the right way. Turn those off, and you have your remote. All right. And that's it. And then you can go ahead and you can test them. It should be pretty smooth. So you test those with some of the shinier matte caps that come with Blender. All right, kind of a thing. And then decide what you want to do for any texturing, whatever. So I'm going to leave it like that. Have a nice look at our work. All right, and that's it for our remote. Hopefully that was useful, interesting, helpful, all the above. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.